funny. We get so many alerts to our phones now that when I saw that the Lakers had sold, I'm numb to a lot of this stuff now because there's so many huge headlines every day, and I think it's sort of like, okay, wait, what is this? Is this real? Is it not? Regardless of the source, because it's like, okay, it's not necessarily is this accurate. It's like, okay, now you have the job of figuring out whether this is a big deal or not. Because when you turn your alerts on, everything's a big deal. Clearly, it took about 2 seconds. You get into the article, you see it's Brian Windhorst, you see it's Shams. You can tell, okay, this is a very big deal. Dave McMenamin does a great job. The Lakers, which is such an interesting organization, they are, and it wasn't Tim Bontemps, it was Tim McMahon. That he said last night, he was talking to Windhorst and Tim Bontemps on the Hoop Collective, Windhorst's podcast, and they were going over the sale. And this is exactly what I was thinking before he said it. The Lakers were the most glamorous ma and pa store in the world, and that's what they were. I mean, bought by Dr. Jerry Buss in 1979 for $67 million, around that, okay? So they'd owned it for 47 years. They sell it for $10 billion. Now, the sale took place, or there was a vote in order for, and they're giving up the majority. Mark Walter, who also owns the Dodgers, is the majority owner of the Dodgers. He actually, since 2021, I think, had a share of the Lakers. And so this was kind of coming down the pike. Nobody on the inside is really surprised about this, especially when you had Wick Grossbeck and Mark Cuban, two owners that Jeannie Buss is extremely close with. They both sold their teams, $3.5 billion for the Mavs, the share that Cuban sold, and then I think it was $6.1 billion for the Celtics, which it's crazy to see the Lakers blow these guys away. I'm surprised about the Lakers-Celtics thing, that there's a $3.9 billion difference. And this is overall, too. If you get into the intricacies of it, maybe the Lakers or maybe the Buss family's only getting $5 billion, but to get the idea, right? The evaluation was at $10 billion for this organization. In 2013, this is when a lot of things, by the way, I mean, we don't have to get into it, right? Like, the Lakers are one of the most historic franchises in all of basketball. They literally have been one of the pillars of the NBA dating back to, I don't know, you can go all the way back to when they were in Minnesota, really, with George Mikan. So the Lakers have been an amazing organization for the NBA, and they have been able to, you draft Magic Johnson, okay? You trade for Kobe Bryant. You sign Shaq. You acquire Kareem before that. You acquire Wilt Chamberlain, star. You re-sign Kobe. Make sure he doesn't leave. You get LeBron. You trade for Luka. I mean, this is an organization that has done an amazing job of just putting itself up at the highest level and finding a way, by the way, because there is not this money train, right? This is a private family. The money runs out at some point. But they had still had a way to manage all that. And they also made mistakes. And the Lakers are the Buss family was an amazing ownership group because of the success. But there were some mistakes, and some of those mistakes were good old boy deals. You give Magic Johnson a lifetime contract, right? They way overpaid Kobe, right, on his latest deal, his last deal. And they take care of their stars, right? You see it with LeBron. By the way, LeBron, there is no chance he's going to, this is not going to impact his decision on July 1st on whether he'll exercise his player option. I think, so here's when a sale like this happens, okay? Again, I mentioned, well, let me get back to this one. Let me put a bow on this. So Dr. Buss dies in 2013, right? And this illustrious franchise is now turned over to his 6 kids. After a lot of pushing and shoving, in 2017, Jeannie is elected to run the Lakers, as the governor. But the kids are still involved. I think Jimmy Buss runs the G League team, the South Bay Lakers are called, I think. And then Jesse is the youngest, and he's the director of scouting for the Los Angeles Lakers now. And he's getting ready for the draft. So I think if you're going to get, like, who does this affect, right? I think if you're a Lakers fan, this is amazing news because now you have Mark Walter and his group. By the way, Magic is a player in all this, right? Because Magic is part owner of the Dodgers. Lon Rosen, who was always Magic Johnson's marketing guy, now works for the Dodgers. He's like, as much as he wants to work, but he's like one of the heads of the organization. I think he's like a CMO. Or EVP of marketing and something else. So you have Lon Rosen to sort of cushion any kind of blow for that transition, right? Because Lon Rosen, who was around the Lakers forever when he was doing Magic's marketing, knows the Buss family so well. Well, Lon Rosen was probably a key piece to this deal in one way, shape, or form. So he'll also be a key piece, along with Magic, to smoothing out the rough edges as this deal goes forward, because 15% of the Lakers will be owned by the Buss family for a period to be determined going forward. And Jeannie Buss will still hold on to her role as governor. Again, this is really good news for Laker fans. It's almost like the Buss family has taken this organization as far as they can take them almost. And now in a world where you do $10 billion, like it's almost impossible to turn that down. And Jeannie has said recently that she didn't, I don't want to do this forever. My favorite part about this whole thing, and Windhorse mentioned this, there was a vote. It had to be approved. The sale had to be approved by the Buss family. So now we got like a succession situation, right? They're all sitting around a table. I think the younger guard, I know, this is what Windhorse said, the younger guard did not want to sell. The older guard did. So you think of the younger guard, Jesse Buss. He's running scouting for one of the biggest organizations in the world, right? Sports organization. He doesn't want to leave. So I can almost guarantee he voted that the team was going to, they didn't want to sell. You can imagine Jim Buss, the same thing. He's active in the team right now. Then you get to the older folks, and they said that Jeannie was a swing vote, and I guess she was finally like, you know what? I'm ready to move on. So it impacts some of the regular players, like the and I don't want to call them riffraff, but like, there are like usual suspects for the Lakers, and they are the Buss family. And I would think like Linda Rambis, right? Kurt Rambis's wife is Jeannie Buss's best friend, and she works for the Lakers, and she has way more say in anything, way more say than you could ever imagine, right? And she was a Laker girl. She's Jeannie's best friend, and now she's like running the show with Jeannie. Rob Pelinka is another guy who's sort of untouchable. I mean, if the Lakers, he's done a great job, let's face it, but he has always been safe in a way because he was Kobe's agent. Kobe was a made man with the Lakers. Jeannie Buss loves Rob, apparently. So Pelinka is there. He was like, you thought untouchable, or as untouchable as you could get. Well, that's probably gone. Now you have a new ownership group who is committed to winning, because the Dodgers just won another World Series, and they're clearly not taking the foot off the gas anytime soon. And one of another player in all this is the second apron, right? The luxury tax, because it's not as though the Lakers are going to seek to go over that tax now, right? But they have an owner who is way more equipped to pay any kind of extra tax if you go over those caps than you did before. It's not an invitation to go crazy. It's not baseball, right? You can't just spend whatever you want, but there won't be as stringent a policy in-house with the Lakers, I would imagine, on whether you go a little bit over. You got somebody with way deeper pockets. I think for the historic, the NBA's history, it makes me sad that the Buss family is out of this. It's just kind of like, there were a couple things about the NBA. I think Herb Simon, I know Herb Simon, right? The Kevin's in here. Herb Simon has owned the Pacers since '83. So now he's the longest running owner in the NBA. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff is owned by major corporations. It is what it is. I'm sad. I love Jeannie Buss.